Ralph, just double checking that that's you.
Yeah, it's me.
Okay, we are live on YouTube, so just so you're aware.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
So good evening, everyone. This is Phil Rubin, Mayor Hideout. I am waiting for one more council member, I believe, and then we'll get this going.
Hey, Alicia, can you co-host me so I can mute and unmute?
Yes, Jerry, thanks. I was just making sure that was
okay.
definitely you.
And this is Polly. I'm on as well.
Thank you, Polly. So while we're waiting, I want to make clear that this is a slightly more complicated process tonight because we've had significant issues with what's being known as Zoom bombing. And so the way it's going to work is that the meeting will be broadcast on YouTube at the YouTube channel that's shown on the screen. You will also, to get your comment, you can come into the Zoom meeting and be in the waiting room, but we're only admitting into the meeting one at a time. So you'll need to have both windows open. For those of you on the phone, we will recognize that you're there, and we'll admit you with those of you that have phone numbers only. However, you will be muted, and if there's any effort to disrupt the meeting, you'll be exited from the meeting.
Yes.
And just so you know, I've just double checked the YouTube stream and it's working.
Thank you. Good. I'm still looking for Chris, I think. He's the last one from the council, and then we can get started.
I'm here.
Oh, hi, Chris.
Hello.
I'm not seeing you. I'm not seeing you on, there you are. Okay. Thank you for that. Okay, I think we have the council here, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. I'm going to share the anchor site determination document. Please tell me if the anchor site determination document is showing on the screen.
Yes, I can see it, Mayor.
Thank you. So this is Hideout Town Council public hearing of October 12th, 2020. This is an entirely electronic meeting pursuant to my September 24th determination letter as shown on the screen. And I will read that letter as that's required by the rules of the determination. So, determination regarding conducting a town of Hideout public meetings without an anchor location. The mayor of the town of Hideout hereby determines that conducting a meeting with an anchor location presents a substantial risk to health and safety, those who may be present at the anchor location. Pursuant to Utah Code Section 52-4-207 sub 4 and Hideout Town Ordinance 2020-03. Facts upon which this determination is based include the percent and number of positive COVID-19 cases in Utah has been over 5% since May 27th. 7-day average of those cases has been quite high. And COVID-19 patients in Utah hospitals has also been significant. In fact, the U of U is getting quite tight. So this meeting will not have a physical anchor location. You can connect remotely. This is, in general, this is the Zoom address, but as I was sharing moments ago, we are doing this via the YouTube channel. So those of you in the waiting room are not going to be able to hear the dialogue unless you are also on the YouTube channel. I think Alicia and Kathleen, we have no choice but to allow the phone numbers in because I don't think they have any other way to hear. So if you go to work on that, I'd appreciate that while we're getting the other things together here.
And just to also confirm, the waiting room splash page has the URL to the YouTube channel as well as instructions.
It does when you first get into the waiting room. It says that right
Yes.
up there. So when you first come in. Okay, I'm going to share the agenda. Which also has the instructions here. So I've read the anchor site determination letter. I'm now going to do the roll call. town council members. Chris Byer,
Here.
Carol Hazelton,
Here.
Jerry Dwinell,
Here.
Bob Nadelberg,
Here.
thank you. Ralph Severini,
I'm here, Mayor.
thank you. We have the full council on a quorum. I'm now going to cover a couple documents before we begin the public input. So I'm coming back first to public input guidelines. All right. Public hearings are an opportunity for the public to provide their opinion on proposed legislation. It's a critical part of the public process. In case of annexation, we are required to wait a minimum of 30 days before the public hearing. That is why we have not taken public input until tonight. Zoom bombing, as it's known as, disrupting of the meeting, public meeting, is illegal. We have cybersecurity people engaged to track IP addresses and phone numbers. Should you purposely disrupt the session, we will work to find you and prosecute. You will also be kicked out of the meeting. As I said at the beginning, because of the history of disruption, we are taking steps to minimize the potential for disruption. So this meeting is broadcast on YouTube at the address shown here. And that's where you can hear the comments. If you're wishing to speak, you'll be allowed into the session one at a time. You'll have to wait in the Zoom waiting room until you are admitted. Therefore, for those of you on the video, you'll have to have two windows open in order to both hear all the other comments and at the same time be connected to Zoom. When we do call your name and say that you're being admitted to the meeting, you'll need to mute your YouTube session so you avoid electronic feedback and echo. Right. If you are logged on as an alias name, we will not be allowing you into the meeting. We need to know that you're a real person. If you don't want to wait out the entire process, you will need to send an email to hideout@hideoututah.gov. Please provide your name and where you live. All emails will be considered equally with the live input we received tonight. Anonymous emails will not be considered. So I'm going to stop for just a second. I just got an email that came in that someone suggested that the email is not, that the YouTube address is not working. So there's a different YouTube link posted somewhere.
My understanding, so what I've heard, just got some feedback, this is Polly, that if someone is on a phone, they can't watch YouTube and do the
I understand.
be in the waiting room at the same time. I tried that on my computer and I can do both on my computer, but it seems to be a problem for people that are who are on their iPhones.
Okay. Hang on one second. Can you check the webpage or our webpage? Because somebody's saying that. If they're going to the website, okay. Okay. All right. Apparently it's working fine from our town website, so apologize for that. Coming back to the document I was reading.
Mayor, can you hold on for just one moment?
Sure.
Thanks. I don't know if that person who's on the YouTube that isn't working, make sure you're on the right meeting. It should be on the 12th. We do also have a different one posted for the 13th.
Thank you. That probably clarifies it. Okay. Coming back to the process that we're going to work tonight. Okay. Speakers are limited to 2 minutes. We'll attempt to let you know when you have 30 seconds left. Share your name and where you live. No aliases again, please. You may tell us whether you're in favor of annexation or not and why you feel that way. Given that there are already 105 people on the line, I ask that you try not to repeat exactly what's been raised by others. We want to make sure that everyone has a chance. So if you're in agreement with what has been said before, you may simply say, my name is X, I live in Y, and I agree with the prior speaker or the speaker from 2 minutes ago. It's important that you understand that there will be no action tonight. We, the council, are here listening. We will review the input and ensure that legitimate concern areas will be addressed in any agreement that is made. Should the process proceed, sorry. For example, we have stated we would do a feasibility study, we would do a traffic study, those kinds of things. Again, we have some people that are still having a problem with the video, so hang on for 1 minute because the link on the home page works and people are in, so we need to find out. Again, as I mentioned earlier, no foul language, please. You will be removed. No heckling, please. You will be removed from the meeting. I'm going to put it on pause for a minute and okay, again, it appears that there are some people who are struggling with the link, but I'm pretty confident that this link works. We've tested it.
So what I've heard, I've gotten some information that, and I just tried it, I'm watching the meeting on my phone and I can see it on YouTube, but I also have been admitted into the meeting. People are saying that if they are in the waiting room, they can't watch the meeting as well. But so maybe the tech person can address that. On my
Okay.
phone, and I can see it on YouTube, but I also have been admitted into
Right.
the meeting. People are saying that if they are in the waiting room, they can't watch the meeting as well. But so maybe the tech person can address that.
I hear you, Polly. Thank you.
On my phone, and I can see it on YouTube, but I also have been admitted into the meeting.
pretty sure that. I agree. So the tech people tell me that the YouTube link is working even if you're in the waiting room. So that it's possible that you're clicking on the Zoom link, which does not allow you to see and hear. But if you're on the YouTube link in a separate window, you should be able to follow the process. Okay. The next thing I would like to share is a little background for everyone before we start taking comment. So, the town of Hideout has been exploring the possibility of annexing some 350 acres in the Richardson Flats area as a mechanism to address retail and service needs that will arise from the previously announced development along SR 248 and US 40. As a reminder, we are considering the annexation because we believe it will allow us to address many of the needs we feel are critical for the long-term livability of the area. Examples of the services we hope to include are retail services as listed there, public services, community services, transit services, mixed housing capabilities, and potentially schooling needs. The Hideout Council embarked on this investigation because we truly believe that this effort is a win-win for the greater community. It should reduce the need to travel to Park City for basic household needs, address community needs, provide lower cost housing, and add miles of outdoor space for our inactive community. Many of you have already asked key questions, which you're working to address. You have asked why not we build in Hideout. As we stated before, unfortunately, there's very little space left in Hideout to build these services. Prior administrations previously granted residential units across the majority of the land in Hideout, so we must expand to address the needs as described. We've been asked about the environmental risk, and we will definitely require a full environmental study by experts of our choosing to confirm that the area being considered can be developed safely. We've been asked about traffic, and we have stated we will require a full traffic study by experts of our choosing to help us ensure that the traffic flows can be directed to the development without is creating significant additional traffic into nearby neighborhoods. You've asked if we will actually do what it say it will. We will require a feasibility study for the entire project to ensure that the proposed plan will deliver against our goals. There have been concerns raised about light pollution, and we are striving to ensure that dark sky methods are employed throughout the development. And we have been challenged to describe how utility services will be provided. Although we don't yet have answers for that, we are committed to reaching a solution for all utility services prior to allowing any development to proceed, should we proceed with the annexation. So your comments to date are helping us in the development of an agreement that is designed to address the concerns described. Our hope is that your input tonight will provide thoughts that will serve to strengthen an agreement, again, should we choose to pursue annexation. Tonight is for your comments. We're not going to be responding to your comments or explaining positions during this meeting. We're simply aiming to understand how you feel about the project. We appreciate you taking time to be with us tonight, and we will begin collecting, hearing from you as we speak. So, there is a delay between the YouTube and the meeting, so I'll pause and make sure that everybody on YouTube is caught up, and then we'll start bringing some people in.
Mayor, for those who are on the telephone, do you want to go over how to unmute, or sorry, to raise your hand if they do have a comment that they would like to make?
They can raise their hand on the phone.
Yeah, I think it's like *6 or something.
Okay.
*6 is unmute, so I don't think it's *6,
Yeah.
but that raises
Yeah.
a
I'm
question as
assuming
well.
that if they're on the, I'm assuming if they're on the phone in the waiting room, it's because they want to make a comment. So we can just start addressing there. However, I've got a request. Sorry, I gotta, let's see. I'm still not seeing. Well, let's begin with, I think Senator Winterden, Senator Winterden is on. Why don't we ask you to start, Senator? You're unmuted, sir. Senator Winterton, are you there? You are.
Maybe he doesn't have a comment.
He's showing as muted, although I unmuted him.
Yeah, no, I'm here. I was listening on YouTube, so I had to run into the other room.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was listening on YouTube. No, I
Okay,
appreciate you
thank you,
guys
sir.
holding this, and I'm very interested to see comments tonight, so I'll just be in the background listening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Alicia, Tim Quinn is in the waiting room. If you could drop him in, please. Oh, there he is.
Can you hear me, Mayor?
You can, sir.
Thank you. Like Senator Winterton, I appreciate the opportunity that you guys have given the public to weigh in on this. I just wanted to return from the meeting that was held 3 or 4 weeks ago and just make a few comments. It was alluded to in that meeting by the Developers Council that he had spoken to Representative Musselman and Senator Cullimore, the two sponsors of the original bill, as well as the two sponsors for the repeal. And that it was reported that that 60-day window was left open on purpose. I've spoken to Representative Musselman several times since that meeting. He doesn't remember speaking to the Developers Council. I reached out to him today through text and did not get a response. He may be out of town, I'm not sure. I did speak to Senator Cullimore at length today, and he wanted me to relay that under no circumstances did he speak to the Developers Council about this, and that it was not his intent to leave the 60-day window open so that Hideout could proceed, that the legislature did not leave that open so that that could happen. And one other thing, we talked about the committee meeting where this repeal bill was heard back on August 19th. So I got the minutes from that meeting, and if it's okay with you, Mr. Mayor, I'd like just to read some of those, hoping that the council realizes there was a lot of conversation about this repeal bill, but I'm just going to try to narrow this down to the salient points. Representative Birkeland, who represents part of Summit County, asked a question. She says, are you aware of any counties that have acted due to this legislation change? Senator Andrade, the chairman of that committee, asked Mr. Schertz, do you know of any? Mr. Schertz said yes. So currently there's a pending annexation that has been in process, and it deals with the town of Hideout, which is located in Wasatch County. Potentially annexing into Summit County was the one that has kind of brought this to the forefront of the conversation. So that's the only one that we're aware of that's currently being litigated and is before the 4th District Court, where a temporary restraining order is being contemplated by the judge. Again, that has been part of this whole dialogue. That's the only one we're aware of where it's across county borders, or excuse me, county boundaries. Representative Birkeland says, okay, thank you. Senator Andrade says, thank you very much, Representative. Then Senator Andrade says, Mr. Representative Musselman, does this solve the Hideout issue? It unwinds it, correct? Representative Musselman said, given that it's in current legal action, I hesitate to say that it solves it, but it is indeed what was requested by the parties that were involved. So as far as that, I can answer your question. Senator Andrade said, Mr. Schertz, does this solve it as far as Summit County is concerned? He says not to do political speak, but like the representative said, because it's in legal action, it kind of depends on how the judge handles the action at the legislature. What we do believe is that the indication of the repeal by the legislature will certainly act in influencing impact on where the judge decides to rule. I think if you take that in the context of the remainder of that meeting, when Senator Andrade says the unwinding of this, does that solve it? It was obvious to all of us that the legislative intent was not to leave that 60-day window open for any other reason except to say that is the norm in legislative process. That if we're not in a regular session, which always has a defined date for legislation to be enacted, unless we change it intentionally, in a special session, it is always 60 days. So for the council for the developer 3 or 4 weeks ago to have stated that this was the intent of the legislature to leave that 60-day window open, that absolutely was not the case. And I think that ought to be considered by you and your town council tonight. So with that, again, Mr. Mayor and the council, I appreciate the opportunity to speak. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak early. As I mentioned to you in a text that I have another engagement. And I just hope that you'll take from a member of the House of Representatives what his understanding and all the colleagues he's spoken to, their understanding is this was not the legislative intent, is to leave a window open.
Thank you, Representative. Appreciate your sharing that for our consideration.
Thank you.
That's helpful to know. Thank you. Is it, if okay, I'm going to put you back on mute, sir.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. And so the clocks begin. There is, I guess I'm going to start with the phone. So the person whose last 4 digits are 2401. I'm going to unmute and see if you have a comment.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I
can
don't
hear
have
you,
any
sir.
questions at this. Hello?
Okay. Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah, I do not have a question at this time.
Okay. The person with phone number, last four digits, 9545.
Yes. My name is Brett Rutter, and I'm a resident here in Hideout. I've been following this matter and owned property here since 2016 and recently moved here full time. I did write written communication to the town council and submitted that this morning. Hopefully you've seen that and read it. You know, I went back to past items, and after further hearing from the senator and others here even tonight, I think this is going about it in the wrong way. I think there was a loophole that was created by deceit. I think that the town of Hideout and myself as a resident here, I somewhat feel embarrassed to say that I'm a resident of Hideout anymore because of the way that this has been approached through this loophole. It doesn't seem to be productive. It seems to be isolating us from our neighbors. In my email, I went back and looked at some of the reasons why this was purportedly desired, and why I repeatedly see bringing services, grocery, and gas closer to the residents in Hideout. I actually mapped it out. Where it's proposed in Richardson Flat would be 5.9 miles from Hideout. Camas with Food Town and gas and liquor store and other retail is 5.9 miles from Hideout. Albeit in a direction that maybe some don't go every day. But if I'm headed towards Park City or Heber, I go by a gas station on my way down by the Burt Brothers and Home Depot that's just under 10 miles away. And if I'm going any direction that way other than towards Wyoming, I'm going to go by Kimball Junction. And if I go head towards Park City and hang a left on 40, I'm going to go down to Heber, which has a lot of retail and grocery and gas. So I agree that Hideout needs a more sustainable revenue generation from a sales tax, retail sales tax base. But I don't see where this is providing services of any significant benefit to the residents of Hideout. I do have long-term concerns that we don't have a retail sales tax base to support, once the developer fees are gone and, all we're left with is property taxes, and that's going to propose a problem. But I do think there's got to be ways. There's a lot of land in Hideout, and although it's a lot of view property, if we're really serious about providing services, I think we've got to work with neighbors to annex in the right way, the way the law was intended, not the way that a loophole was created, or consider rezoning areas within the existing town of Hideout to develop that retail tax base. I think definitely getting outside input, independent outside input, not through the developer, with no contingencies on who we would select for the EPA would be important. I've been reading a lot on that. Doesn't seem like a lot's been done there, and I don't know if an annexation can be undone once it's been done. But it seems like we're jumping into this without knowing what we're getting into. I feel that. I'm sorry?
That was just your message that you're down to 30 seconds.
Oh, okay. I also think, the developer has clearly been making some misrepresentations. I know, Josh Romney bailed on this deal. I know there's different stories as to why and how. But I have a feeling that it was because of the manner in which this has kind of been done and some of the activities trying to sneak this through. And just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. Clearly the legislature has spoken. Clearly our neighbors around Hideout have spoken. And this is not the way to go about it. And as a resident, I urge the council to just drop this and begin working with our neighbors in good faith. Selling Park City on the fact they want to reduce traffic on 248 Kearns Boulevard into Park City And we want to work with them on how to do that. But this isn't the right way to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, I've been informed that *9 for those of you on the phone will allow you to put a hand up, so I know instead of reading every number to see if some people are just listening versus wanting to speak. If you want to speak, if you would please do *9 on your phone for those of you on the phone only. See if that works.
Yeah, I'm seeing 5 hands are up.
Okay, it's more than I'm seeing because I'm not seeing any hands. Oh, there they are. Okay, they move up to the top. Okay, my apologies. Okay, if your phone number ends in 0911, you can speak.
Hi, my name is John McKnight. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. 2
Hi,
minutes have
thank you
begun.
very much for calling me to make a comment. My wife, Dr. Merzayance, and I, we live in the retreat at Jordanelle. And let me share a little story with you. It'll take about 45 seconds. I grew up in Santa Barbara, California in 1963. I was born. And it was a small town like Park City, idyllic. People moved there to work at the university or to enjoy the outdoors or a myriad of activities, maybe raise a family. By the time we left in 1998, state water had come in and they replaced the mandatory waiting period to build the house because it was a semi-arid area, just like Park City. They replaced that process because they had state water. And within 8 years, the town was destroyed. What took 20 minutes to drive from San Marcos High School on Highway 101 to the Rincon to go surfing or up to El Capitan, another 15 minutes to do that. Took 2 hours and 20 minutes. And I guess the moral of this story, or metaphorical comparison, is we're well on our way to have that same scenario here in Park City. 400 students were added to the Summit County school enrollment this year alone. And my sense is although I'm sure the project has merits, the land is beautiful, my sense is that it's not good timing for more development in our area. And I think we need to ask ourselves, when is enough enough? Are we going to...
2 minutes.
Yeah. Is my time up?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just finish up your statement here.
Oh, so
Please.
I'd like to be on record, my household as opposing the project. I'm sure there's fine ladies and gentlemen involved in it, and we appreciate that. And but the town is too big. There's no water. The lake is half empty, and 400 homes in that area is just inappropriate. I think I'd rather have 40 people riding mountain bikes. Thank you so much, and God bless everybody.
Thank you, sir. Okay, phone number ending in 7969. I'm going to ask that you please try and be a little bit more concise. We're running long on the comments. Thank you.
Hello, this is Craig Wallenstein, Park Meadows. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. First off, I wanted to thank Representative Quinn and Senator Winterton for being involved in this process the last few months. I've been involved and connected with both of them. and I very much appreciate their support in trying to resolve this issue. And I also would like to note that both candidates for Representative Quinn's position have also spoken out in opposition to this proposed annexation. So again, thank you to our elected representatives. I want to note that agree with the prior speaker. 10 years ago, when we were looking for property in this area, which we ended up buying in Park Meadows, we looked very carefully at Hideout. I've got photos from the what it looked like at that time. And clearly the answer, and it was mentioned by the first speaker, for all the services that we needed if we lived there, we were going to go to Camas, South Summit. South Summit has lots of land. It's open for development. There's a established development procedure there. So I'm personally stunned that this whole thing has come up when the obvious solution that was clear 10 years ago somehow has been forgotten. So I highly recommend in all these feasibility studies, look to South Summit, Camas area, much easier, and it would also benefit surrounding developments that are also coming in the hills. 2 more items here I'd like to mention. I would highly suggest to the town council they stop claiming that they're going to create open space and dark skies. I bike right through that area. I like to go out there. I can see the area from our location. You're not going to improve on what's out there already. If you do want to proceed with feasibility studies, please include Summit Land Conservancy and Mountain Trails Organization. They've got a tremendous track record for developing things right with full participation of the population. So I'd highly recommend you do that. And finally, last conclusion is this would never happen if you just followed the normal procedure of doing development with Summit County. So I highly encourage the Hideout Town Council to connect with Summit County and just use their normal land development process. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Person with the phone number 8778.
Hello. This is Miles Raderman. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. As a professional urban planner, I'd like to offer the following comments about the annexation. Hideout's stated concern is to increase its commercial offerings and tax base, which I believe will be ill-served by approving large amounts of residential density, which rarely, if ever, cover the cost of the services they require. There are already approximately 20,000 units already approved in and around the Jordanelle Reservoir, and hundreds of more units will only exacerbate the already growing problems of congestion. The quantity and quality of recreational and open space amenities provided in and around this annexation area will determine its livability and success. Never underestimate the ever-growing need for these amenities. Those adjacent lands that are constrained by previous development agreements between Park City and United Park City Mines /Talisker should be honored and referenced and made a condition of approval if you do go ahead and annex. These lands are constrained to open space and recreational uses and will add immeasurably to the ambience and quality of life of future residents and users of the new town centers if you build them. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, sir. So the person with the phone number ending in 2746, you may speak.
That's
Yes.
you, honey.
We hear you.
Go ahead, you can talk.
Yes, hello. This is Mark and Debbie Franzen. We live at 1718 Longview in Hideout, and we're moving up full time early November, and we purchased a home 3 years ago. I agree with the earlier comments. I think that although the increase in the tax base is certainly commendable, I think what plagues me and why I oppose this is the increased density. I understand the drive times, and everybody's stated it. I'm not going to repeat what they've had to say. But I do think there's other ways to go about it. I think working together, although legally at the time it turned out to be the right thing. Hideout did nothing illegal, did everything appropriately. I get the political side of this too. But I think that now's not the time, and I think the other comments were well made. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. Okay, the person whose phone ending in 9238. Are you there?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, my name is Dave McCurdy, and my wife, Dr. Pam McCurdy, and our son Josh live in Deer Vista, permanent residence. Prior to that, we lived in Black Rock Ridge development. And unlike most people in Hideout, I actually looked directly onto Richardson Flats. So deeply concerned about this move and potential annexation. So, and I also have considerable government experience and background, and really question the movement. So I agree with the comments made before. I understand the challenges of inadequate tax base, but the density question, the light pollution, destruction of actual recreational area is not in best for the community or the region. Also, on the corner of Browns Canyon and 248, there are signs for grocery store or commercial development next to the lumberyard. So I think some of those questions of access to those kinds of facilities could be addressed without annexation by Hideout. So I know the challenges of working in a pandemic and holding meetings by Zoom, but do appreciate your willingness to conduct a public meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Again, those of you on the phone who want to speak, it's *9. I apologize if you had your hand up. It may have come down just because this screen pops around a lot. So we think we're clicking on one, and we're actually clicking on another number as it jumps around. So, all right. At the moment, I don't see any more hands on the phone. So we're going to move to begin to bring people into the room. Again, if you're in the waiting room without a name, you will not be admitted. So if your phone is set up to say, something other than a name, then it's hard for us to have the comfort level to bring you into the meeting. So you may want to look at that. And again, those of you I'm going to start bringing you in one at a time with the assumption that if you're in the waiting room, you want to speak. So,
And Mayor, reminder, there'll be a 20-second delay from when you tell them that they've been invited,
can go, right?
probably.
Okay. Thank you. So the first one up here is sort of a name, but we'll try it. Brenda La. Brenda. If you're on the list as Brenda. Okay, guess you. All right, Joan Mosh. Joan, you're have a request to unmute, so you may speak.
Sorry, that was an error. Please mute me.
Okay. Kurt Schadel.
That was an error. Please mute me.
Okay. Kurt, you're up.
Okay. My name's Kurt Schadel. I live in Hideout. I want to read from a petition that was solicited throughout the town, just for the general public to understand if they haven't seen it, what it contained. On September 10th, the town council, with the strong urging of the mayor, voted to continue to pursue a modified annexation of property located in Richardson Flat, neighboring Summit County. This imprudent action flies in the face of the state legislature's recent repeal of cross-county annexation, specifically designed to stop our town from proceeding to annex this area. We're continuing the annexation process in the short window of time before the legislation becomes effective, which will shortly prohibit such action. We, the undersigned, urge the town council to stop this unwise annexation, which will alienate our neighboring communities and HOAs, subject our town to wide-ranging and time-consuming lawsuits, distract us from the very pressing problems that need to be addressed within our current borders, and may result in damage to our property values through negative press. We fully recognize that the mayor and the town council have put an extraordinary amount of time and effort in on this and many other matters, seeking to improve our town. We thank them for their efforts, but we need to be working with our neighbors, not further dividing us from them. We need to leverage our current position to organize a regional approach to planning involving Summit County, Park City, and Wasatch County in an effort to jointly solve our region's traffic, housing, and shopping issues. We urge the mayor and council to find a way to work with Summit County and Park City on this and other issues. This annexation petition was signed by 2 former council members, 2 current planning commission members, 1 former planning commission members, and almost 100 town residents, which I might add is significantly more than those that voted for anyone in town government now or at any time in the past. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Kurt. Okay. I would like to remind everyone that if you've submitted in writing, all your comments in writing will have been shared or are being shared with the council and will be considered as part of our review process that we have scheduled for tomorrow night. So I appreciate that you may also want to have the chance to make your comment vocally, which is fine, but just remember that we are also reading your comments that you have sent in. So the next person I'm going to admit is Scott Hallenberg. Although I'm not seeing a phone for you, sir. I'm not seeing a microphone for you, Mr. Hallenberg. Okay, appears to have dropped off. Excuse me. Try again. Reb Bowen, you're being admitted.
Okay. I actually had sent, sorry, it's on my phone. Just a minute.
You'll need to turn off your YouTube or mute your YouTube before you.
Sorry, that should be better. Hey, I actually had sent letters to the Hideout City Council last night, so I probably don't need to add more. I do agree with all of the previous comments. I'm grateful for you holding a town meeting. It's really nice to be connected to people in the area and to hear what they're saying. Thank you for listening. I'm really, really concerned about this. It feels fundamentally wrong, the way it's been proposed. I think we would be much better off working all together for solutions that'll be coming up to the problems that are going to be, that we'll need to address in the future. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I live in Park's Edge. Love it over here. Love the whole area. And looking forward to working with my neighbors to solve our future problems. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So I'm going to admit Jay Sterling. And then just for, so you know, Sergio Castellanos, you would be after Jay Sterling. We'll do the on deck process so you can be prepared. Jay Sterling, I'm not seeing a microphone. I'm putting you back in the waiting room. And let's try Sergio Castellanos. Bill Hultz, you are next. Mr. Castellanos, I'm not seeing voice for you either. Put you back in the waiting room. Mr. Hultz, I'm going to admit you, Bill Hultz. Martina Nelson would come after. There you are, sir.
Is that me? Bill Hall?
Yes, sir. Mr. Haltz, yes, sir.
Okay. My name is Bill Holtz. I am a recent move to Park City. I have been a developer for the, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I've been a, excuse me, I've been a developer for the last 35 years. Yeah.
Mr. Haltz, there's a delay between you speaking to us through your computer and what you see on YouTube. So you'll have to trust us. We are hearing you.
Let me mute this. Sorry about that. Am I back with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I've recently moved to Park City. I've been a developer for the last 35 years. We're actually doing a project up in Colville. I like the idea of what you're trying to do. I agree with everyone else in that I don't believe, from my experience, that you're going about it in the right way. We've had certain situations over the course of our development experience where we've gotten into negative situations with the people we're trying to do business with and the neighbors. And in none of those situations did it ever turn out well. It's you know, it's such a small, from what I'm essentially learning from this area, although I'm very new to the area. It's a very, very small place. And I think you would do well to consider your neighbors and go about this in a little bit more conventional way. If I know, I know that revenue is a very strong issue for a community your size, and your options are somewhat limited. But if it's services you're looking for, I think there's land on the way to Camas. As a matter of fact, we were looking at buying some of that land and doing exactly what you need. And we're in touch with the people that own it, but your current developer is got it on hold. So I think you have options, and I would suggest that you maybe look to the folks that have been doing this for a long, long time. And while I know Summit County can be a little difficult to deal with sometimes, ultimately I think they have a pretty good handle on what they're doing and where they're trying to go. So I appreciate your time. I know it's a lot of hard work, but I think that maybe backing out of this is maybe a good idea. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Martina Nelson, followed by Susie Weir. Martina, you should have a message to unmute. Okay. Martina Nelson seems to have disconnected from the Zoom session. Okay, let's admit Susie Weir. Dean Peters would be next after Susie Weir. Susie, I don't see a microphone with your connection.
Hello,
There you are. Okay,
can you hear me?
very good. We can.
This is Suze Weir. Basically, appreciate all your hard work.
Susie, I don't see a microphone with your connection.
Can you not hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. There's a 20-second delay between the YouTube and the Zoom, so you'll need to mute your Zoom to your YouTube while you're speaking to us.
I don't know how to hear me. How do I mute?
We can.
Okay, this is Suze Weir.
Ms. Weir? Between the YouTube and the Zoom, so you'll need to mute your Zoom to your YouTube while you're speaking to us.
I don't know how to hear me. How do I mute? Shoot. I'm sorry. I'm not very sophisticated here.
Well, an easy way to do that would simply be to close the YouTube window and then open it after you're done speaking.
Okay, maybe that's it. Is that now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I just want to tell you that I appreciate all the hard work you've done, but I do agree with the previous speakers, and I don't want to waste any more of your time, but I concur with what they're saying. I've been here for 37 years. I'm not comfortable at all with the way in which you are doing, proceeding with your attempt to annex this land. And I hope you're listening to what everybody's saying. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Okay, the person that we had listed to come next is no longer visible. So we will go to Sue Ostrand-Rosenberg, followed by Emma Prasonko. Ms. Weir, between the YouTube and the Zoom. Sue, we can hear you. Close the YouTube window and then open it after you're done speaking.
Okay, maybe that's it. Is that now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I just want to tell you that I appreciate all the hard work you've done, but I do agree with the previous speakers, and I don't want to waste any more of your time, but I concur with what they're saying.
You're broadcasting the YouTube. We're not hearing your comment. Going to have to mute you and till you understand the process, okay? So if you want to speak, you have to close it. You have to turn off your YouTube so you can speak to the council on the Zoom. Would you like to try again? Sue?
Okay, this is Suzanne Rosenberg. I'm speaking on behalf of myself and my husband, Robert. We live on Trailside Court, which is the last street in Park City off of Wyatt Earp, and we're about a mile from the entrance to Richardson Flat Road. We can look out from our back deck every morning and see the traffic that is accumulating on 248 and trying to get into Park City. If there's an additional traffic going in and out of the Richardson Flats development as proposed by your developer, that will create even more of a mess with traffic. The Highway Commission, the Utah Highway Commission had a meeting and proposal about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, to try to remedy the traffic situation. They had no solution. So it's very doubtful that you will come up with any kind of solution. So my husband and I are both very much opposed to this project. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Okay. The next one would be Becky Yee, followed by John Phillips. Becky, are you there? Yeah, we're not getting Becky. Let's see if John Phillips can come in.
Can you hear me, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me pause my YouTube. Just bear with me for 1 minute.
Sure.
Can you still hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'd like to thank the mayor and city council members for allowing me to give my comments. I'll keep it brief. My name's John Phillips. I am the Park City Planning Commission Chair. I co-authored a letter with Park City Planning Director Bruce Erickson that was sent to your Planning Commission and directly to, I believe, Polly, and I would just ask that that letter be forwarded to the city council as well, so that our comments can be submitted that way. I can imagine myself in your shoes, and I understand that you're at this point just considering an annexation. What matters now is what you decide to do at this juncture. Hideout should be looking to make long-term relationships with its neighbors in order to work together collaboratively in regional planning. And if you want a seat at the table, then you need to come to the table. I expect you will make the right decision, and I look forward to working with you as neighbors and not adversaries. I think you are experiencing growing pains as a municipality, as all municipalities do. But as your needs grow, I do feel that the demand will be met. There are other lands and areas nearby you that I think will eventually fill your needs as you grow with the surrounding area. And I just, again, thank you for your time and appreciate you considering my comments tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Apologize for the delay. There was another name in, but it has disappeared, so we'll try again. All right. The next person coming in is Tom Sly and then Christina Sally. Tom?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, hi, Tom. Yes, sir, we can.
Hi, Phil. Thanks for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'd just like to say that I believe this has been a poorly executed case of deception, hiding tax benefit under the veil of closer retail and recreational amenities. My wife Kathy and I are opposed. We believe the best approach to work is to work in collaboration with Summit and Wasatch counties in a regional planning effort to solve the current retail, traffic, housing, and recreational issues. While we appreciate the commitment and dedication that our town officials have invested in our community, we strongly believe that the method and manner that our town has utilized to gain the legal ability to promote and to move forward with this annexation has damaged the reputation of Hideout and those that live here. We urge you to rethink your approach to this annexation, to apologize to the neighbors in the adjoining communities and counties, and to ask for the opportunity to work collaboratively to find a resolution. More than anything else, we believe that our town leaders and our community should be working to unite and not divide. And this has been nothing but divisive. So we thank you for the opportunity to speak out tonight. And more than anything else, I hope from what I've heard, and as being one of the members that have signed, the 100 people, residents that have signed the petition, that you as our representatives do have our best interests and our beliefs at stake, and that you're listening to what we're saying tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Doug Fox.
Will you mute it?
We can hear you.
Hi. This is Amy Sage. It's actually not Doug Fox. He's sitting right here. We lived in the retreat. We've been here since permanently. It's been since about 2014. And I appreciate the fact that you've kind of assured our neighborhood that you won't annex us without our consent. But one of the things I'm a little concerned about is that the structure of this plan has some pressure points that you could put on our neighborhood to make us consent to possibly in the future being annexed by you. And I don't think they've been addressed in your plans. One of them is the fact that you're talking about putting a chairlift above our neighborhood, and that's going to affect us in ways that we won't be able to control, such as erosion, privacy, noise in our neighborhood. Our HOA pays for a trail system. We're responsible for it. We've got a park here, we've got a park and ride, and we've got a lot of other systems here in structural places that might be affected by the decisions that you make for this area that you're going to control. And another one that I'm concerned about that I don't think has gotten very much explanation is the corridor that's being annexed along 248 highway. That looks like, if you're looking at a map, it kind of looks like we're a peninsula that's still in Wasatch County, but that's our major entrance and egress routes. And basically it's going to be controlled by Hideout to get into the neighborhood and all of the things that might go along the corridor. And I'm not sure if we've talked about whether or not our HOA will have an easement. And if our HOA gets an easement, which one is it going to be? Is it going to be the retreat? Is it going to be, the other ones that are here? How is this actually going to work? And that's not something that's been addressed to us. It's something that I can see in situations where in the future that, yeah, we would have to opt in, but we would have to opt in order to have any say whatsoever in what's happening within our actual neighborhood. And I mean, quite frankly, I know you've told us to kind of trust you, but your current actions with what you're doing with countywide, with people who have a lot more power than our HOA, is not really inspiring confidence in me that you're not going to use structural pressures on us in the future. And so I'm not unwilling to entertain these discussions about what should happen in our neighborhood, but I kind of feel like you guys have made me feel like I can't really trust you to be making these decisions on behalf of everyone, or promising that you're only going to try to annex us with our consent. That's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you for hearing us.
Thank you. Let's try Scott Robertson. Scott Robertson. Okay. Let's try Steve Chin. Okay, not getting any audio from either of them. They're not showing audio on their connection. Let's try. Mary Krista Smith. Mary, you should have a message to unmute. There you go.
Hello, thank you very much for taking the time to take public comment this evening. My name is Mary Krista Smith. I'm a lifelong Utahn and a 30-year resident of Summit County. And I am submitting public comment tonight, asking you to pause and really deeply listen to what Tim Quinn had to say about the intent of the legislature, and how clearly he stated that there was absolutely no intent to leave a window open for you all to proceed. I beg you to listen to your residents of Hideout who have strongly requested that you stop this annexation from moving forward, and that you turn towards your neighbors, Wasatch County, Summit County, and you take Representative Quinn up on his offer to convene a group for regional collaboration. And I ask that you all look into your hearts and make the moral choice. I know you know what that is. And it is not proceeding with this annexation. It's wrong. It's sneaky, and it's detrimental to your long-term relationships with your neighbors. And I really, really ask you all to pause and consider what you are doing here tonight, and to reverse course and not proceed with the annexation. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Okay, let's see if somebody else is in here. Stephen McKay. Stephen McKay. Okay, Mr. McKay, we're going to put you back in the waiting room, see if we can get the next person, and we'll come back to you. Dennis Forshik. Okay. You seem to have Sheila McLaughlin. Let's try Sheila McLaughlin. Sheila, you should have a message to allow you to unmute. Sheila. All right, put you back into the waiting room. Danny Barber.
Can you hear me, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for holding this public comment period. I think the community is really appreciative of you and the town council considering our opinions as your neighbors. My name is Danny Barber. I'm a resident of Park City, Utah. I'm a lifetime born and raised Utahn. I've seen the growth that has come to our area. I understand it. It's a wonderful place to live. But I think we need to consider why it's so wonderful. And I think Summit County has a very good grasp on those considerations, and I urge you to work with them. And I also would like to just note for the record that earlier this evening, I emailed to you the results of a change.org petition that is in opposition to your annexation. At the time of delivery, I believe it had 876 signatures. It currently has 882, and I will deliver an updated copy at the close of tonight's meeting. Thank you again for allowing comment.
Thank you, sir. Okay, let's see who else is in here to go. Max Dolney. Are you? Max, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, thanks for having us on. I'll keep it short. We've had a number of conversations. I'm Max Doyle. I'm on the Park City Council. Our position has been well stated, and it seems that the voices have spoken clearly tonight. We do appreciate you guys having the public hearing, and if you choose to do the right thing and pull back from this annexation, we look forward to working collaboratively going forward. So good luck with the rest of the meeting. I'll be watching on YouTube.
Thank you, sir. Eric Davenport.
Hi, my name's Eric Davenport.
You'll need to pause your YouTube, sir, so you don't get the echo.
Okay.
You believe you probably paused the wrong one. As we lost you. But you can come back in. We'll get you back on. Okay. Here we go. Angela Moschetta. Angela, you should have a message allowing you to unmute. There you go.
Yes, you can hear me?
Yes, yes, we can.
Good evening to Carol Hazelton and no one else. My name is Angela Mosqueda. I live in Park City. I was going to be nice. Now, in spite of these measly 2 minutes, I will be quick and speak as frankly as Bruce Baird, Bob Nadelberg, and Chris Beyer took reckless and inconsiderate liberty to do in recent meetings. Hideout was established under a legislative loophole, thereby rooting the community's entire history in a shady and shaky foundation. This underhanded leadership style carries through to present day with the majority of the current council, including you, Mayor Phil Rubin, who many in the town of Hideout say unequivocally do not speak for them and don't really even live in Hideout. We are beyond Napoleonic land grabs in the year 2020, Phil. There are real communities of real human beings in place on all sides of your proposed annexation area who deserve better than the mountain town version of Hunger Games you play. Now, I do not challenge that the warm and lovely people of Hideout I have spent hours talking with both need and deserve amenities and support commercial. But none of this means you need keep turning your constituents and community into pawns in your ego-driven development schemes. No amount of Brockbank or Romney money, especially as it traces back to Gary Barnett and Extel and Mida, and further back to Jack Bistresser and Talisker and Wells Fargo and Vail, and now perhaps even to Jeffrey Epstein, is ever going to make this annexation you have illicitly pursued right. You will never be part of Park City. Instead, you will forever and ever be Hideout casts, and a fractured relationship between your challenged development and landmark Park City will hurt the real estate values you both project and Brockbank on. The right thing to do by the people of Summit and Wasatch counties, and most of all the residents of Hideout, is to accept the very real and measurable benefits of scaled services and support, and to make a compelling and humble case to Heber City leadership on why they should annex Hideout into Heber. And it is to build whatever support commercial you need on the land you already count within your boundaries. To remind us all that the devil works hard, I caution you that Parkites work harder. Josh, say quoi de neuf to your daddy for me, and Phil, silence your damn phone. Good night and good luck.
Thank you for your comment. That sound is the timer, so it will not be silenced. Rod Bradshaw. Rod Bradshaw. All right, Mr. Bradshaw, we'll put you back into the waiting room and give you a chance again if you stay connected. Kathy Beckman. Kathy, you seem to be connected. No, you just muted yourself. Let's try again. Okay, Kathy Beckman, you are unmuted. Kathy, do you wish to comment?
Linnea leave? Oh. How does a pink apple pie?
They dyed the apples.
Kathy Beckman. No. We'll put you back into the waiting room and try again. Okay. Let's see who we have next. Let's try. Seeing Dana Wee.
Yes.
Go
Can
ahead,
you-
sir. We can hear you.
Thank you. My name is Dana Williams. I've been a resident of Park City in Summit County for almost 45 years. Served as the mayor from 2002 to 2014. And when I took office, there was nothing in Quinns Junction except a cement plant and a power station, and was involved in the development of all 4 quadrants over a period of about 12 years. And one of the major development agreements from 1998 that we had was with the mining company, which left that out. Your developers, when they finally read that, threw that, all the United Park Mines land out, and now are going after Mayflower. I think I also, just as an aside, in 1974, as a 24-year-old, I was the soil scientist for the National Soil Conservation Service that tested this land for its impacts with heavy metals, and they are everywhere. As you may be aware, the Clark Ranch, when they did the background study for that, came out with lead in its soils, and that's quite a distance from the tailings pile. I think the one thing I want to go to 10,000 feet with you all, because we've all served and we know the difficulties of that, is that this whole thing is based on relationships. And the biggest thing that I learned in 12 years was about honor and respect, and that we could completely disagree on certain ideas, but we need to leave the table going, I respect that person. Your history of how this has been dealt with, the comments of Bruce Baird about the people of Park City and Summit County have done nothing to help you guys at all. I totally believe that there is a regional approach. I've spoken to the county, both counties, and members of the Park City government that are totally willing to work with you on the regional collaboration on creating some more commercial in that area. When I kind of crunch the numbers on your residential additions with the commercial, it's kind of a push. You're not going to gain enough money with the residential portion of your development. You're not going to gain enough money to help your city at all. It's kind of, and so if you look at that map and the commercial at the bottom and the residential on the hill, if you cover the residential, there's the commercial. That's what you guys needed. And if you cover the commercial, that's what your developer wants to make enough of a profit on this. And I would respectfully submit to you all that there is a regional approach, that everyone is willing to work at the table. Hideout is not entitled to anything. And the way that this has been done is just egregious to everybody around you. And so I'm hoping for the best. I'm certainly willing to put in time and effort to help with the collaboration effort. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Christine Brick. Christine. Okay, seems to have moved off. Let's try. Okay, let's try Andrea Spalding. And for reference, I'm setting the timer for 1:30, so when you hear the sound, you have 30 seconds to wrap up. Andrea, you should have a message to unmute. Okay, Andrea, we're going to put you back into the waiting room. Let's try David Bennett.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the time to address the council. Just a housekeeping issue. Is there a quorum present? Does that make a difference for this hearing tonight?
There is a quorum present. The entire council is present.
Thank you. I just see yourself and Chris on the YouTube screen.
Not everybody is broadcasting their face, that's all.
I've attended the public hearings, the hearings that have been held on this issue. And I want to go back to a word that Mayor Williams used, and that's entitlement. I am actually shocked at the entitlement that is felt about Hideout being able to come into Summit County and annex this land. We still haven't heard the story of who it is that whispered in Senator Cullimore's ear that he had consent on the bill that originally allowed to be passed by the legislature, that originally allowed Hideout to begin this annexation process. We heard loud and clear the result of that. For Senator Cullimore to take the effort to go ahead and try to repeal this law tells you just how strongly he felt that he was deceived. That's where we are today. And the idea of the entitlement going forward is pretty shocking. I appreciate when Jerry made the comment that when Representative Quinn and Senator Winterton were on the call, that he wanted to hear what they had to say. What was the legislature's intent when they repealed the law? And he would follow whatever it was that the legislature intended. Representative Quinn, Senator Winterton held nothing back. They clearly said the legislature's intent was not to allow Hideout to be able to annex this land in the 60-day period. And at that point, I texted friends and said, hey, it's over. We don't have to worry about it. I was shocked to hear that Jerry and others, Chris and yourself, led the charge to go ahead and try to annex this land even after the commitment was made that if the intent was not to allow Hideout to do this during the 60-day period, that it wouldn't happen. You've heard the comments tonight. It is clear. I was shocked to hear the number of Hideout residents opposing this development. It is wrong at so many levels. It is wrong environmentally. It is wrong, again, as Mayor Williams spoke about, the importance of relationships. Your relationship with Summit and Wasatch counties, Park City will be forever compromised as a result of this process. I encourage you to reconsider, to take this matter off and not allow the developers to go ahead and run the town of Hideout's business. Let's go about this the right way. Let's go back to Representative Quinn and Senator Winterton and have them convene the meeting between the parties and see if we can't reach an agreement that will take care of Council Member Beer's desire to have a grocery store, to have the kind of trails that all of us in the area appreciate, but to do it the right way. I appreciate your time and the work that you've put in and ask you to reconsider this annexation proposal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Roger Armstrong. You should have a
Good evening,
message.
Mr. Mayor.
Good evening, sir.
And council members, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
I may run over your 2 minutes by a minute or so, but I'll try and keep it concise. I'm coming to the end of my second term on the Summit County Council. And during that time, I'm not aware that we've ever been in a lawsuit with any of our neighbors. Instead, we've consistently found ways to collaborate on the biggest issues we face. In the Wasatch Back, we don't sue, we collaborate. In 2019, Hideout announced without warning that it intended to expand its annexation declaration area into Summit County. There was no outreach. We provided you with notice of our objection to that expansion, and later we met with you and certain other representatives in August of 2019. And in that meeting, we offered to work with you to try to understand your challenges and to collaborate on mutually beneficial solutions. The next thing we heard was your intent to annex this year. I don't want to take time to rehash the legislative process that brought us here. And I appreciate our legislators coming on this evening to provide us with some background about the repeal process. Had the annexation process moved forward under customary cross-border annexation rules, I'm positive it would have been a collaborative process and we could have addressed a host of significant issues. Among those are, we've got an EPA Superfund site in our jurisdiction that abuts the area that you're trying to annex. That area is important, particularly as it relates to its interaction with Park City's contaminated soils disposal and the ultimate cleanup of contaminated soils in the 40 corridor. That benefits all of us. And all of those have long-term time horizons. We also have to talk about the source and cost of basic services in that annexation area. And that includes sewer, water, utilities, police, fire, and other important services. Roads and traffic and transportation issues are obviously critical, and we've already had some of those discussions back in that August meeting. The cost impacts on Hideout residents and Summit County residents is something that we have to explore and how those will be paid. I'm afraid that some of that is going to come through tax increases that your taxpayers and ours may not be willing to bear. Although the developer promises to pay upfront costs, taxpayers are still going to bear the long-term costs of these decisions. That feasibility process would have been driven by Hideout, Wasatch County, Summit County, and Park City. It would have been a truly regional collaboration and more likely to result in real and productive solutions that provide benefits, for example, where you need them, and avoid the unanticipated detriments and burdens on Summit County, Park City, and Wasatch County. Moreover, that process would involve robust public input. That's been problematic so far, if I'm honest. And that leads to better ideas and solutions that truly reflect the public's input, their feedback, and their desires, and those are the people we serve. The present circumstances could be described as the unfortunate intersection of an opportunistic developer and a community desperate for certain kinds of services. That developer changes its plans on the fly to include any idea articulated by you members of the town council just to keep the hook in. In meetings, the developer's attorney has regularly provided the town council with so-called advice, and the town council has regularly sought that attorney's advice. That attorney obviously has a conflict. He provides advice such as more residential must be built to justify any commercial development. Rather than critical public input, Hideout's process has relied primarily on the developer's input to now. And stripped bare, that Emerald City proposed to Hideout is hundreds of additional rooftops, likely with a lower tax base than you currently have, long school commutes for your children, unknown water and sewer sources with unknown service charges that will be borne by the residents, unknown law enforcement and emergency services, and their unknown associated costs, also which will have to be borne by your residents, and a commercial zone and town center located adjacent to a toxic waste facility that, when capped, will require at least 30 years of ongoing operation and maintenance costs. That same commercial zone will be in an isolated location and not likely to be a significant contributor to Hideout's tax base due to that isolation. When the developer finishes, Hideout will be left with problems and no more solutions. The real value of the Wasatch Back is that we are not a congested urban or suburban center. It's our rural nature, our trails, our ski resorts, and our open spaces. It's a place where one can recreate and escape the cities and suburbs. As regional partners, we protect those values. This process dangerously may sacrifice them. Summit County once again respectfully asks Hideout to stop the rush and deeply flawed process. Join with us, Wasatch County and Park City, and let's all address a better, sustainable, efficient, and thoughtful process to address all of our issues, including yours. Work with us rather than through a process that risks harm to all of us. Good leaders operate in the daylight. We wrestle with difficult issues and we find excellent solutions, not expedient ones. And we do so with substantial and ongoing public input and, most important, collaboration. Please join with us and stop this process. Thank you for hearing me tonight. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Mr. Armstrong. Next up, Rich Wyman. Rich Wyman.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can.
Well, I'd like to start out by saying this whole process is amateur at best. You guys are a barely functioning city council. 3 months to take public input, and it is so unprofessional. I've been going to city council meetings for decades, and I've never seen anything as amateur as yours. I'd also like to state that every single comment that has been made here tonight has been against the annexation. If you vote to proceed, I hope your terms are all very short and you're all voted out of office very soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mayor Bierman.
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Andy Bierman. I'm the mayor of Park City, and I am calling in tonight to express Park City's strong objection to this annexation process. We are very sympathetic to Hideout's needs, but we believe this is entirely the wrong way to go about meeting those needs. And it goes against the advice of your regional partners, the intent of the legislature, and the advice of the courts at this point. And there are reasons why a traditional annexation process exists. It's tedious and it's rigorous, but it's to prevent us making unintended consequences and mistakes. And you've heard from your developer that they will handle the water, the sewer, the electric, the gas, that the toxic soils are no problem. Those are all things that need to be pinned down in advance. In addition, you have not made plans for police, fire, transit, schools. These are all things that should be pinned down in advance. And as Council Member Armstrong just pointed out, this will be built next to an EPA Superfund cleanup site and repository that's currently in litigation on likely toxic soils, which Park City can tell you from personal experience, you will live to regret owning those and working in those soils. And lastly, the roads need to be addressed. You've been told by the developer that 2 new roads will go into 248. Park City has been negotiating over a decade with UDOT to install a new road to 248 from that park and ride, and it's been a no-go. So I think counting on those roads is dangerous. And if the traffic is intended to go through Black Rock and Park City Heights area, not only will the commercial fail, but it will be crushing to those neighborhoods. So I've heard from the Hideout Council that you're concerned about growth and you need this growth, but you're not going to grow your way out of this. Growth does not pay for itself. As a town, you build community. Developers are here to make money. So it's naive to believe that they're going to come in and solve your town's needs. Secondly, I've heard concerns about regional relationships. forcing this forward is going to chill regional relationships and have the opposite effect of putting you at the table like you've asked. Rushing right now only benefits the developer, a foreign land investment company, and it gives a big bank a bailout. So at this point, I think it's pretty easy. There are two stark choices. Door number one is to force this to really crush those regional relationships and create potential liabilities and new costs to your residents. Or door number two, which is the one I highly recommend, which is to take a pause on this annexation, follow the traditional annexation process, work with your neighbors, and let's plan this together. We are open to regional planning. We are open to working with you to supplement your services as needed and figuring out how we can help Hideout. But we need you to come to the table. I think at a prior meeting, Chris said, nice guys finish last. I'd like to suggest we take a different adage here and treat others how you would like to be treated. We would very much like to work with you, but we ask you to please reconsider and pause this process and give us the time to do this right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Alex.
In City Council,
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
3 months to take public
Can you hear me or
input,
Rich?
and
I'm hearing Alex, but Alex, you need to mute your YouTube channel.
Hey, give me a
I've never
second.
seen anything as amateur as yours. I'd also like to state that every single comment that has been made here.
Okay, I think I got it. Is that better?
Yes, sir, you do.
Mr.
Yes,
Mayor,
sir.
I'm a former council member in Park City, and I think a lot of people have already spoken as to regional collaboration. I just want to speak as a former council member, and I know you guys are in a really tough spot. But Andy, in his previous comments, pointed out these kinds of annexations take a long time. They take a long time because you need a development agreement where all of the services that you think you're going to need are going to be provided by the various providers: water, sewer, fire, police, all of those things. I urge you too to just reconsider, take a pause, and most importantly, get a development agreement there's never one that's going to be rock hard that someone can't get around. But I can speak to you again from firsthand experience. Park City has been burned by incomplete or badly written development agreements. And I, again, urge you to reconsider this. It is the right thing to do. And in the end, you'll get the result you want. You've listened to a lot of your residents tonight. You listened to a lot of your community around you tonight. And I haven't heard much in the way of support of this project. And so there's really no reason to rush ahead. Appreciate your comments. Good luck, and really appreciate your service because I know what it's like.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Apologize for that and get the off button in time. Sean Philippoon. Sean, you are
Mr. Mayor,
connected.
can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, good evening. My name is Sean Philippoon. That's Sean P. in the comment section on all the news articles. You know, as someone who's going to speak in favor of this project, I'll tell you it's very difficult to show up in support given all of the negativity that's been surrounding it. I would note that between Summit and Wasatch counties, there's 85,000 people or so who live here. And just because 170 show up on YouTube and another 800 sign a petition, that does not mean that there is not a huge majority of people who are in favor of this project. It's not fun to show up and get yelled at by people who are against it. And so I would keep that in the back of your mind. I'm in favor of the project, and I hope you guys move forward, and I support you doing so. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Okay, let's see. Joy Rockland. Joy, you'll need to mute your YouTube channel.
Let me figure out how to do that. Hang on. I'm figuring it out. Oh, come on.
You seem to be doing okay without getting an echo.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, my name is Joy Rockland. I'm a Black Rock Ridge resident, and I want to thank you for recognizing my comments. And I hope you also consider the comments on next door, our neighborhood next door, and the petition opposing the annexation. So I strongly oppose the annexation, and also do all the neighbors here I've spoken to. Mayor Rubin, you said at the beginning that Hideout cannot do a commercial development because there's no space. But you have 6 new areas shown under development on your website within Hideout's existing boundaries, and more within your initial town. Marketing descriptions of these include, and I quote all of these, mountain, lake, and ski resort views, remote retreat, open space and access to miles of trails, encompassing approximately 2,500 acres of land. So first question, does this 2,500 acres include the acres that you're trying to grab from Summit County?
We're not giving comment, but no.
No, okay, that's first question. Okay, and so the other big question is why not use the new development areas to develop commercial space? They're within your existing boundaries and you got plenty of room.
As I said at the beginning, those developments were granted for residential development in prior administrations. Those guys have rights to build those homes.
Yeah, but you also have the right as leaders of Hideout to rezone things. So we'll just let that go. I'm very upset by the deceptive annexation process, and you're trying to sneak in the annexation within the default 60 days before the repeal takes effect. I looked at the Hideout, I looked in Hideout myself before buying in Black Rock Ridge, and I'm a CPA, and I was concerned by the financials, which did not look sustainable to me at all at that point in time. So I urge you to stop the current annexation effort, to work with your neighbors to find solutions to commercial development, to do something within your own boundaries to fix your tax revenue problem, which appears to be the major driving thing in all of this, because the argument about no services around and we need more services is quite specious. And I had some other point, but I can't find it. In which case, I urge you to stop and, become a good neighbor. Get along with everybody else around you. Because if you do proceed with this, much against everybody's wishes, you're going to try to develop commercial development that we are going to picket and do everything we can to discourage sales of the residential units in there, which is something your developer might not like. So I appreciate the tough spot you're in. You need tax revenue. That's your biggest issue. The developer has come to you and said, oh, we developers will make a lot of money and you will get a lot of benefits. It just, given all the other comments, does not appear to be the case. And the whole thing is just very, very awful. So thank you for listening, and good luck continuing your work on the commission and the council.
Thank you. Stephen Grayson. You heard from him already?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Very good. My name is Stephen Grayson. I live in Park City. I would first make note of the public comment you have heard tonight has been unanimous in opposition of annexing this land. I think as representatives of the residents of Hideout, you would be wise to listen to both residents of Hideout as well as your neighbors, including myself, that I haven't heard a single voice that is in favor of annexing this. As Others have commented, surely the developer is interested in making this happen, as he stands to benefit tremendously in a financial way. And from a not being involved in the local political process at this point, I have to say it's extremely disappointing to see a local government such as yourselves engaging in what is so clearly a deceitful process and a disingenuous process. The legislators made clear when they appeared earlier this evening that allowing this to go forward was not their intent. So you've now heard from a unanimous public hearing, you've heard from the courts, and you heard from the legislators that this is not what anyone, except the developer and I think you all understand or believe your tax base will benefit from this, but even that is in question. I guess I would be amazed to hear a vote in favor of this annexing going forward after listening to the public comments and hearing from so many different voices that this is simply not what people want to hear. Again, this has been a disappointing process to observe as a local resident to see Hideout engaging in such maneuvers that are clearly motivated by developers' financial interests. Of course, yours as well, but it doesn't appear that anyone else is in agreement with that. I clearly oppose the annexation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. John Labrum.
Hello, Mayor. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Okay. Well, I'd like to once again thank you and the rest of the town council for providing this input session that we have here. You know, just as I've followed this, I've lived in Summit Park for 16 years now. And I would say the thing that we enjoy about the Wasatch Back is recreation and our open space. Now, with that being said, I don't necessarily want a grocery store in my neighborhood. Just as I'm sure, you know, you don't want to have commercial facilities, you know, possibly right there within your boundaries. But the thing that I continue to hear is that we have a, you know, a legislative process that went through that individuals identified that this was not right. And then that, especially in a year with a pandemic that we have, that the Utah legislative decided it was important enough to put some time and energy into repealing this bill. And I'm amazed that you're continuing to move forward with annexation, whereas there are avenues to be able to work with the counties around you, your neighbors. I would encourage you to pause on this annexation, listen to the voices that I've heard for the last 2 hours, and put a stop to this and look at how you can work with your neighbors to improve the situation in the position of Hideout here in the Wasatch Back. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next name is John Leone.
Hi, Mayor Phil. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hi, this is John Leone. I live on North Shoreline Drive here in Hideout. You and I met about in March, just shortly before I bought my place here. You were walking your dogs, and it was a nice cold spring early spring morning. We commented on how beautiful the area was and how good it is to live here. Well, since that point in time, I've gone from feeling good about living in Hideout to being ashamed of living in Hideout. And one of the things that I really feel that should have happened, I know that this is a very quick rush to provide services, which I do believe we need. And I think that should be forthcoming in a mutual collaboration between working with our neighbors and our neighboring counties. But I really feel like this was just sprung on us. There was no communication with any of the people that we had here. I never received a mailing. I never received, would you guys like to do this or not? We were never asked about our opinion about this. And instead, we are ashamed going into Park City now. And when I come from Park City, and I love Park City, and I love Hideout as well, I really think that you should pause. I know that we need these services. We need commercial, we need retail, and we need small amounts of gas stations. But to do it in this manner is not right. And Mayor Phil, as a neighbor, I plead you to back off of this annexation and work with our neighbors, the neighboring counties. I think everyone's willing to hear us and work with us. Thank you for your time, and I hope you guys make the right decision.
Thank you, John. The next input is from John Lynn. No, we just did John, from Colin DeFord.
Hey, Mayor. Thank you very much. Man, this has been a beating tonight, and I will not disparage the council or the mayor. There's been a lot of passion around this for sure, as is evident for tonight. And as a former planning commissioner in the Centerville Basin, I understand that you're trying to do the best for your town. You know, this is a poor form of a public hearing. It's very cumbersome and complicated. I understand that this is a COVID hearing, but to watch on YouTube and wait on Zoom and think that you may get picked is very difficult form of public hearing. So for the town, it seems like that this is just primarily a sales tax consideration to support the town. You know, I get it. The town was pushed through, and there's really no consideration from the developers on how to sustain the town. And now the town is looking for help. But I know you said you can't find room within your borders for the commercial you need to support the town, but be creative. There's got to be a way. If you do end up taking on the annex, you know, take on the mine tailing cleanup. I mean, you've carved that out and left that for us to clean up. But I really feel your mind is made up. I'm not convinced that Hideout really wants any regional collaboration. I think that the council and the mayor, you just need a new tax generator. You need mostly a commercial tax base. You know, Summit County has reached out. The legislators have commented on the intent on the repeal tonight. And the only winner I really see in this annexation would be the developer, and not you as a town of Hideout. I think this is analogous to the only winner in a lawsuit are the attorneys. I am skeptical that this will pencil out as a revenue win in this town. Do not go down as the mayor and council that shoehorned in a project that really only lines the pockets of the developers. You know, the overwhelming comments tonight have been to reconsider, but you're up against a clock. You lose your window. You lose the money you think you will generate. With all these comments, you know how you will vote. I really feel that your mind is made up, but I'm sure there are some other creative ways to operate your town. I think that this is a great opportunity, mayor and council, for you to be an example in Utah on how to find other revenue generating opportunities for your town, instead of annexing and looking for a commercial tax base that are in that annex. I appreciate the time for the comments.
Thank you, sir. Chris Ensign.
Mayor, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, Chris, we can.
Hi, Mayor, Councilman. I've been listening for a little bit, and well, I'll start as a landowner and represent many buyers and future residents of Hideout, all of which are very excited for this type of direction and progress for the town of Hideout. I've listened, and I'm surprised by the negative outlook. You know, as I've worked with the town of Hideout, Planning Commission, and City Council, I think it's a very capable group of leaders that can make this project work and work well. I'm frustrated by the neighbors' criticisms and thoughts that this isn't something that the town of Hideout could execute well on, but also enhance. You know, I look over at Park City and I see Kimball Junction that looks and feels a lot like what this is. It's just not Park City, which if they were so concerned with open space, and I recall when Kimball Junction, which is just a massive corporate commercial move for tax base from Park City, I guess I'm struck with the hypocrisy that the town of Hideout would have the faith for their future and the fortitude to work forwards and do something like this, that they're so negative. They've done this exact commercial play. It feels a lot like sore losers to me. And the fact, if regional relationships do matter, I would hope they would support the town of Hideout and then be good neighbors. I just feel like that the opportunity here makes sense for a lot of people. It's not a greed play. Park City is entirely an agreed play. Developers have gone into Park City for 100 years and made the city what it is today. And yet they point a finger at Hideout in other communities and accuse them of greed. We all want to live there. We all want to play there. We all want to shop there. We all want to be a part of that special place. Hideout is no different than Park City. So I hope they would more so start to step up and be a good neighbor, support the direction, help Hideout grow, and do like they've done previously. You're not doing something that Park City has not done. I'll finish with, I'm a competitor with Nate Brockbank. We compete. And I think him and his group do an excellent job. They've got a proven track record everywhere they've gone. And I think he's an upstanding guy. I think people have accused him of trying to make different changes. Yeah, he's trying to listen and to make changes that would benefit. He's actually hearing everyone. I think that the thought that we're here, someone has moved to Park City and don't want this change is not being fair. And I don't ultimately think it's the responsibility of the Planning Commission and the City Council to look at Park City's interests first. And again, I just want to remind them, Kimball Junction is a massive commercial play. There is an outlet mall there. That's if they're so frustrated with this, they put an outlet mall over there. I really feel like this is a sensible play that's not more, but much less scale as what Park City's already done. And I would like to see Park City Mayor, the council, and the citizens get behind this and support and trust that Hideout as a body, as an entity, has great capacity to do the same thing Park City's done, and probably better in a lot of ways. So obviously my stance is for, and I hope that the faith that Hideout can become a great community is my vote, and my total confidence that that's possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. I'm going to jump to a couple people on the phone with their hands up. So if you recognize your number, you'll have a chance to speak. Last four digits, 4340. Phone number 4340, your hand is up. Okay, next. That's not a response. Last four digits, 5816. You're unmuted. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Comment. Yes, we can.
Can you hear me? Oh, thank you.
Yes, we can.
Yes, thank you. My name is Eric Davenport. I'm General Counsel for Homes, Inc., a home builder. And I'm calling to speak in favor of this project. It's my understanding that all the issues that have been raised as it relates to the project have been appropriately addressed and the appropriate steps have been followed as it relates to this development. It appears to me, and I serve on the Utah Housing Gap Coalition, and as it relates to housing and the affordability of housing, and it seems to me as though you're having the same issue here, and that is once people move in, they don't want to allow any further development or allow growth. Utah is a growing state, and this hideout area or the surrounding area is a growing area. And yes, there are certain growing pains, but they can be handled, and they have been handled appropriately, as I understand it, as it relates to this development. The other thing, point I'd like to echo is a comment by someone else, and that is as it relates to you, the mayor and the council, and I appreciate your willingness to take comment, and my comment is people that usually appear at these hearings and that call in are usually those that are opposed, and it's usually the residents of the surrounding area who obviously they wanted their homes built, but then they want to pull up the ladder, so to speak, and not allow any further development. And I think that is, in a sense, somewhat hypocritical. Again, this is a growing area. The developer has gone to great lengths, as I understand it, to meet all the requirements and desires of Hideout as it relates to this particular project. It appears to me to be an exceptional project, and I am in favor of the project. Thank you, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Davenport. Another phone hand. Last four digits, 1948.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Matt McCormick. I'm the mayor in Camas, and I wanted to just take a moment and provide a comment. It appears that several people have mentioned Camas, so I'm assuming that at least some people think of us as a neighbor. So my comment is really just this, without taking a bunch of time. I echo many of the comments that have been made, a lot of them from the residents of Hideout, about taking a step back and working with neighbors in Summit and Wasatch County, and Park City has been mentioned, and working with those neighbors along maybe with Camas and looking for some relationships to build and doing some regional planning so that everybody feels a part instead of feels at odds. So again, I'd like to thank many of your own residents and many of those that have spoken about becoming good neighbors and good partners and providing regional planning. Thanks, Mayor. Appreciate you and the time you and your council put into serving your town. Thank you.
Thank you for connecting. Okay, let's see, where am I going next? One more hand, which is the last four digits, 4397.
Good evening, Mayor. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we do.
This is Chris Robinson. I'm a member of the Summit County Council and have had occasion to attend some of these meetings in person in the past. Thank you for your patience this evening and taking all of this input from the public. I won't repeat a lot that's been said. I think that the points I would like to make is that we at Summit County would like a good relationship with our neighbors, Wasatch County, Hideout, and all those around us. The current collision course that we're on, regardless of how the courts may rule, if you proceed with this, I think is going to mire us down for quite some time. And I think what I'd like to communicate is that our county is very eager to work with you and the surrounding jurisdictions and stakeholders in a positive, constructive way. And so I would urge you to hit the pause button and to keep that in mind. I respect that you have a tall order. It's no fun being an elected official at times. And I know that you can't please everybody, but I would just pass that along, that I think you've heard some good counsel from some of the other elected officials and from the general public, and would hope you take it to heart as you deliberate your decision. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Councilor. Okay. Now we've already heard from that. So I'm going to bring in Spencer Knight. Mr. Knight. Spencer Knight, do you have a comment? Okay, we'll not getting you, so we'll move on. We have some incomplete names in the waiting room, so we'll give it a shot and see how it goes. Someone here named Rob. That's all I have is Rob. We've been asked to give, all of you who are on here with single names, you've been asked to give your whole name, but we'll try. So, Rob, if you'd like to speak, now's your chance. Rob, you have a message on your screen to allow you to unmute. Last chance, Rob. Okay. The next one on the list is someone named George. I'm admitting you, George. And George, I'm not seeing audio, but you should be able to put your video. You may come up that way. Okay, George, that's not working. Okay, someone on here as Jeff. See no audio or video for Jeff. Okay. Madison Keller. Madison, I believe you're connected.
Mayor, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, my name is Madison Keller, and I am in support of this annexation. Summit County says that they don't want this type of development in their boundaries, but it's exactly what they're doing behind the outlets. In fact, it's a lot bigger. It's about bigger by more than 1 million square feet. It's exactly what Summit County is doing behind Home Depot as well. The county and Park City have been trying to do something with MIDA on the site since 2009. When Summit County and Park City say they don't want this type of development in the Wasatch back, that's just a lie. They want it. They just don't want you guys to be the one doing it. And Councillor Armstrong says that they have never been in a lawsuit. That's a lie as well. They just got sued and lost for stonewalling development on the film studio parcel. So obviously I'm in favor for this project. And to be honest, I'm not against this project. I'm not against the parcel, or I'm not against the project behind Home Depot or the one behind the outlets. What I am against is when someone says that you can't do something when they're trying to do the exact same thing. Thank you guys for all of your hard work and effort. I appreciate the time.
Thank you. Okay, I believe, let's see, we're still showing, you've shown in the meeting, we've heard from Eric Davenport. I believe we've heard from Roger Armstrong as well. You guys, if I'm wrong, you have the opportunity to raise your hand in the Zoom. Let me know that I got it wrong, but I'm pretty sure we've heard from both of you. The next one I'm going to add is Sally Elliott. Sally, you are connected.
Okay, okay, okay.
Sally, we can hear you.
Hi, thank you. Can I speak?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd just like to encourage you to have a wider public process. This is not only devastating to Hideout, because you're forever going to be tainted with a bad public process and not enough public input. But I have a clear understanding that a high majority of your residents in Hideout don't like the adverse publicity and do not want to be tainted forever with that town that stole land. I just encourage you to go further into this and let Summit County help you figure out how to get commercial into your own Hideout land and leave that tainted wetland, EPA chastised land alone. It's awful land. I've dealt with the EPA since 1986 when we first lived here, and it's not something you want to get involved with. And you do not want to spend all of your meager tax revenues trying to fight the fact that we agreed with United Park City Mines that this would be open, protected, and would not be built upon. I just think you need some more time. You need time for your Hideout residents to tell you what they think. And you need time for us to work this out. Please give it more public process and let time work on your side, because I think you'll be able to find a good resolution if you just give us time. I have wonderful friends who live in Hideout, and I love Hideout. I think it's just a great place to be. But you don't want to be forever chastised by, oh, those people who did this to us. It's not something that you want to hold on to. Just please give it more public process and more time. Do you have questions of me?
No, ma'am. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you very much.
Spencer Knight.
Hello.
You are, yes, you're connected, sir.
Hi. I'd just like to say that I am in favor of the development. My wife and I actually, we rent up in Park City and we work up at the resort. And we have dreamed of owning something up in the area and being able to live up here. And this was an opportunity for us to live somewhere and to own somewhere that we could, be up in the area. I don't take part in this kind of thing usually, but when I've read about this and learned about this, I just wanted to express my support and hope that it goes through so that there's opportunities for people like me to stay up in Summit County and to stay near Park City. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Do they fact check this?
Okay, how are we doing? Well, there's someone on here is Park City Rotary. We're going to put you in the meeting. Wherever. Park City Rotary, you have a message to unmute. Park City Rotary, are you interested in making a comment? Okay, we'll move on. There's a person listed as Jim, just Jim. I'm going to ask you to unmute if you have a comment.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
Jim?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, you are connected.
Mayor Rubin and council members, this whole annexation process looks.
Rotary, you have a message to unmute.
I'm sorry, I'm going to turn this YouTube off.
Yeah. And if you would state your full name, please, sir.
Thank you, sir. My name is James Doylney. I live in Park City. And I am a former member of the city council here. Anyway, this whole annexation process looks terrible. Good government is always done in open processes. Your own citizens have been kept in the dark. Thank you for taking the time to hear from your citizens and neighbors. Any annexation you pursue will be done in conflict with state lawmakers' clear intent. It will forever stain your town's reputation and, unfortunately, residents. Any action by Hideout after this truth will be deemed an end run of the law by using some unintended loophole. Thank you for holding this hearing.
Thank you. Okay, it appears as if we have worked through the list. I don't see anyone else in the waiting room. We have given
Mayor,
those of you that are, sorry, yes, Chris.
we have somebody named Rob who we tried before,
Oh.
but he was in there twice. So we're thinking maybe he can connect now.
Okay, let's try Rob again. Rob, you have a message to unmute if you wish to speak. Last chance for Rob. Okay, Sharon, you just came in. Sharon, if you'd like to speak. Sharon, you have a message to give you the opportunity to unmute and speak. Okay. Well, it appears as if we have heard from everyone that wants to speak. So I will close public input at this time. We
Mayor?
thank all of you for your, yes, Jerry.
Well, I was just about to do the same thing. I wanted to express my appreciation to everyone who took the time to provide their comments. I think it's been very informative and should be helpful in forming what we do next. So again, I want to thank everyone.
Thank you. So with the closing of public input, that's the purpose for this evening's meeting. There are no other items on the council agenda for this evening. So I would need a motion to close the meeting.
So moved.
Thank you. And a second?
Yeah, I'll second that, Mayor.
Thank you, Ralph. Chris?
Yes.
Thank Carol,
Yes.
thank you. Bob,
Yes.
thank you. Jerry
Yes.
and Ralph.
Yes.
Okay. Meeting is closed again. Thanks to everyone who was here tonight. We appreciate your participation and cooperation and patience through the process. I'm sorry it was so difficult to be on multiple systems at the same time, but we have had significant issues in the past without having this ability to segregate the participants in a way that we can control the issues that arise from people who are not supportive of the public process. Again, thank you and good night.